Okay, everyone. I just wanted to take this moment here today to first of all introduce the next topic that we're going to talk about, and that is going to be the circular flow chart. Okay, now within economics, okay, it helps to understand how goods and services and money flow through the economy. All right, when I break it down, hopefully you start to make some connections to how you've kind of seen this happen in your life and as you live and everything, whether it be you going to work and making money or you going and buying stuff. So this should make a lot of sense to you just if you think about it intuitively, but this is a chart that you need to understand for this class. And, once I break it down, like I said, it's nothing incredibly complicated, but it is important for you to know and understand, okay? So at the top of the circular flow chart here, we've got our households, okay? Now, households are going to be individuals, families, right? People who share a house and an income, okay? That's the important thing to remember about households. It's either an individual if you're living alone, if you're single, families if they're living together, maybe larger families, but it's a group of people living together that share an income. Okay, so right now, if you live with your parents, right, you are part of their household. If you live on your own, let's say you move out next year, you're already moved out, you're living on your own, you're your own household. Okay, so just because it says household doesn't mean individuals can be a part of that. All right, now when households, okay, want to earn money, right? Because that's a really important thing for us to do in order to buy stuff. Okay, what we do. If you remember yesterday, we talked about the lesson was on factors of production. Okay, so households are the ones that own the factors of production, so they take their factors. Okay, we'll just keep that short. Factors here. Okay, into what are called factor markets broadly. Okay, so a factor market is a hypothetical, all right? There's no actual place it's called the factor market, okay? A factor market is where households take their factors of production, okay? So if you remember, those were land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship, which I'll just shorten to entree, okay? Those factors are sold, right? Households own all these, right? We own our labor, we own our land that we can sell or rent out to companies. We're the ones that invest and make capital, right? And we start businesses. So households own those factors of production. So they take them to a factor market, okay, where they sell, right? So in a sense, that means that they are sending back money. Okay, they get money for it. Okay, so if you have a job, let's use labor as an example here, because I think that that's something that we're all kind of used to. We all kind of know and understand. If you want to earn money, you go and you get a job, right? You get a job, they pay you for your labor, so you take that money and you go back and you take it, then you can take that money and go out and shop, which we'll get to here in a second, okay? Now, where you go and get a job, okay, is at a business. Now, in economics, because for whatever reason they like to have their own words, okay, those are called firms. All right, a business is a firm, so I'm just going to put that in a bracket here. All right, and I apologize for my messy handwriting. All right, but essentially, all right, we take our factors of the factor market, provide them to businesses who, right, they hired us here, they sent money into the factor market there, okay? So businesses hire us, if we're using labor as an example, right? They give us money for working and providing our factor of production, right, our labor in here. Okay, so businesses take our labor, all right, they take that factor there, the labor, and they turn it into a good or a service, right? those are all things that we provide as laborers for businesses. They take that and then, right, they hope to sell it in what's called a product market broadly, okay? So that's going to be like a store, all right? For example, if you go to Target, right, that's both an example of a business and a product market because we go there to buy stuff. Same thing for Walmart, Kroger, right? All these places, but yes, they are businesses, but more importantly, they serve as a place for us to go and buy things, okay? So when households, right, want to buy something, they take the money that they earn from working to the product markets, all right, and in exchange, they bring back and now own those goods and services. So let's say you wanted to buy a new car, all right? We'll pretend like you're car shopping here, okay? In order to do that, you would have to first go and get a job, right, in the factor market. So you take your factor of production here, sell your labor, get money, all right? The business, which would take your factor and turn it into a product for other people to sell. But in the meantime, you're earning this money here at the top, and when you have enough, you would go to wherever it is you would buy a car from, car dealership or wherever, okay, into that product market, and you would take your money that you've saved and buy that. You now own that car. You get to use it for whatever you want. You get to drive to work, drive to school, drive around with your friends, right, and all that other stuff. So this is the circular flow chart, right? You can see how it makes a nice circle. It shows how goods and services and money and factors of production all flow through the economy. So the biggest things to remember with this so far are that households own the factors of production that we talked about yesterday. Okay, land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. We sell those to businesses in exchange for money, which we then take and go and buy stuff with. All right, so it's this nice circular flow chart. It's pretty simple in terms of, this is a simplified version, obviously. In real life, things get a lot more complicated here. But, all right, but what's important is that this kind of summarizes for us how this works, all right? Now, of course, we're not finished yet because in the middle of the economy, there is, of course, the government, okay? All right, now, the government collects money from us in the form of taxes, right? And if you have a job, you've paid taxes. But they also send money to households in the form of what's called transfer payments. Okay, so those are going to be things like grants for college, food stamps, right? Other things like that that kind of help people. They basically, anytime the government gives money to people, that's an example of a transfer. And that happens a bunch, okay? There's lots of programs that benefit lots of different types of people from the government. The government also hires people to work. All right, so they go to the factor market. There's lots of government employees, most notably the post office right now is in the news for a lot of different reasons, but that's an example of the government hiring workers to work for them, okay? The government also collects money from businesses in the form of taxes, all right, and sends money to businesses in the form of transfers for various things, and the government buys things from the product market. So they also get goods and services. So a lot of military spending happens this way, right? If you or any of your family works for a company like Raytheon or Lockheed Martin, okay, they get government contracts, they get paid money to provide those goods to the government. Okay, now this is starting to look a little messy here, especially doing it on the computer. I haven't actually ever drawn it out like this in Google before, but what I want you to take away from this, all right, is that this kind of shows you how money and goods and services flow through the economy, okay? If you have any questions, let me know. Other than that, I'll go ahead and explain. I'll go ahead and explain to you what it is you're going to be doing with this information.